So this last section, we're going to look at density. We can define density as a relationship of mass to volume. So it's the mass divided by the volume. So most of us have a general idea of density. Pillows are full of foam or goose feathers, and they're not very dense. They have very little mass for their volume. And a bar of iron would be dense. It would have lots of mass for its volume. Okay. In medicine, people use specific gravity, particularly when they're talking about urine. They'll say what the specific gravity is of their urine. And for our purposes, you can just take the density in grams per milliliter and remove the units, and you'll have specific gravity. For our purposes, that's all it is. Specific gravity is the relationship of density to the density of water. The density of water is 1 gram per milliliter. So when you take a specific gravity, you're basically just taking off the units. So let's look at our first problem. What is the density of a 48 gram sample of metal if the level in the graduated cylinder rises from 25 to 33 after the metal is added? Well, we've already talked about the density is equal to the mass divided by the volume. The mass is given here. The mass is equal to 48.0 grams. The volume, well, we've got a problem with the volume because we've got two volumes. We've got the volume in the graduated cylinder before the mass is added and the volume in the graduated cylinder after the metal is added. So the volume of the metal is going to be the difference in those two numbers. So it would be 33 minus 25 will be the volume of the metal, and that's equal to 8 milliliters. Okay, so now we have the mass and we have the volume, so we can fill in our problem. The density is going to be equal to 48.0 grams divided by 8.0 milliliters. And that will give us 6.0 grams per milliliter. And those are, by the way, the units that you'll have with density. You'll have grams per milliliter. Okay, so let's look at another problem. John took 2 teaspoons of cough syrup. The syrup has a density of 1.2 grams per milliliter, and there are 5 milliliters in a teaspoon. What's the mass of the cough syrup that John took? Okay, so we're starting with John's 2 teaspoons, and we're going to convert that to teaspoons into milliliters. And we can use this information right here. 5 milliliters is equal to 1 teaspoon. Then we'll convert our milliliters into the grams that we'd like it to be in. We're told here that we have 1.2 grams per milliliter. That means I've got 1.2 grams in 1 milliliter. I can write that as an equality. I can write 1.2 grams is equal to 1 milliliter. So if I have a milliliter of cough syrup, I have 1.2 grams, is all that says. Okay, so now we've got our setup. We've got where we started, where we're going, and we've got 2 equalities. So we'll start with our 2.0 teaspoons. My goodness, that's a crooked line. We want the teaspoons to disappear, so I'm going to put the 1.0 teaspoons in the bottom and the 5.0 milliliters in the top. That's our first conversion. Our second conversion, we need to get rid of milliliters. So I'll put the 1 milliliters in the bottom and the 1.20 grams in the top. Now, teaspoons cancels, milliliters cancels, and we're left with grams for our units, and that's what we wanted, so that's good. If we do the math here, we take 2 times 5 times 1.2, we'll get 12 grams. It's a good time to stop and do the ebony carving one before I get started on it. All right, the ebony carving has a mass of 275 grams. I, as you will discover, like very much to set up a table. So I'm going to do the mass is equal to 275 grams. The ebony has a specific gravity of 1.12 grams per milliliter. So we're going to just say that that's a density. And so the density is equal to 1.12 grams per milliliter. Whenever you have anything over something, grams per milliliter, we can rewrite this as 1.12 grams is equal to or found in 1 milliliter. That's going to be one of our qualities. So we are starting with a mass, and we'd like to know, we start with 275 grams, and we want to know the volume in milliliters, and we don't know it. We can use this equality, though, to get us there. We'll start with 275 grams. Using our equality, we want to get rid of grams, so we're going to put our 1.12 grams in the bottom and our 1 milliliter in the top. And we'll take 275 and divide by 1.25. And the ebony carving has a volume of 246 milliliters. Okay, so now we have a broken thermometer. When I was a kid, I broke a thermometer and played with the mercury. I'm here live to tell the tale. This is very similar to the one above. It's a good place to stop and work this problem and then see if you did it right. You don't learn much by watching me. You want to do these on your own. So we're starting with 8.3 grams of mercury. We'd like to know the volume of the mercury, and that's going to be in milliliters. We want the volume. We can take this and write an equality. We're going to write 13.6 grams is found in or equal to 1 milliliter of mercury. Okay, so we always want to start with the number from the problem, not with the conversion. This is a conversion. So start with the number from the problem, 8.3. Oh goodness, and put units on it. There we go. Then we want to get rid of grams, so the 13.6 goes in the bottom and the 1 milliliter goes in the top. We'll take 8.3 times 1, divide by 13.6, and we have 0.61 milliliters produced. Okay, so this is your last opportunity to stop this video and figure out how to do these. This one's going to be a multiple. You're going to have a couple of conversions. The patient's going to receive 3 pints of blood, and they want to know how many kilograms of blood. So we're looking for a mass here at the end. We want kilograms. And we're starting with 3 pints. We are told the density of blood, and we're also told how many pints in a milliliter. So I think we're going to have to change our pints to milliliters. And then we'll change our milliliters into kilograms using the density. So let's write our two equalities. The first equality is that 1 pint is equal to 473 milliliters. And the other equality is going to be that 1.06 grams is found in or equal to 1 milliliter. We're going to set this up the same way we set the others up. We always want to start with the number from the problem. Make sure you don't start with any of your equalities. So we start with our 3 pints. We have our first equality. We want to get rid of pints, so we'll put our 1 pints in the bottom and our 473 milliliters in the top. That's our first one. Now we're going to use our second conversion, and we're going to want grams in the top. Actually, we're going to have another conversion. I left it out. 0.6 grams over 1 milliliter. Okay, so we're not there yet. We have gotten ourselves into grams, but not yet into kilograms. So we have yet another conversion to do. We know that there are 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram. So we've got 3 conversions here. Let's get rid of our grams. We're going to divide by 1,000 and put our 1 kilogram on top. So we take 3 pints, 3 times 473 times 120 by 1.06, divide by 1,000, and that will give us our answer of 1504 kilograms. Okay, and let's go over and look at this. We've got pints canceling, we've got milliliters canceling, we've got grams canceling, and so we're left with kilograms. I think I've got too many significant figures. Looks like I should only have 2. So let's get rid of those and give ourselves 2 significant figures. And you have gotten to the end of the video. Congratulations!